Good morning and welcome back to The Mailman. My name's Punith, and if you're new, my channel focus is all about breaking the stigma around male body image issues and the mental health impact it can have on males of all ages, shapes, sizes, colours, whatever you want. And I was wondering actually, am I just overreacting? I did say in pretty much every other video that I'm almost certain that there are thousands, millions of other males, men across the world who probably have some form of insecurities, or they're body conscious about something or another. But obviously as a species we don't talk about it, or we don't really address those types of insecurities or concerns with each other or voice them really, which is probably why I'm questioning, am I overreacting? Because when people don't talk about it, it makes me feel like I'm the only one really that has a problem with the way that they look, or has the insecurities, and it's impacting me way more than perhaps other people. But obviously I don't know, like I'd love to hear from people if that's true, if that's actually the case, where they do have insecurities but they just crack on with life and they just don't give a shit about what people think, and they don't let it impact their confidence in the same ways that it clearly does for me. Who knows? And if you are doing that, then I'd love to learn some tips and get some advice from you. So if you can drop me some sort of comment or advice under the video, that would be really helpful actually, just to kind of understand what I'm doing wrong, or perhaps what I can start doing to make that mental shift, because I just can't seem to do it myself. I've tried to kind of fake it till you make it type thing, where you just sort of pretend that you don't have any insecurities. You try and walk into a room with confidence, or you try and go to a pool or a beach or whatever with the family and just take off your shirt without really feeling any embarrassment. I just can't do it. I always feel like there are prying eyes watching me, judging me. The funny thing is, there probably actually isn't, or there aren't people out there that actually care. They probably look at me and just think, oh, it's just another overweight fat man. Who cares? And they don't think about it ever again. But to me, they're thinking about it, they're watching me, they're judging me, they're whispering to the group that they're with, look at that overweight fat man over there with massive man tits and love handles, and then they're taking pictures or calling their friends up and say, look at this absolute giant of a man that I've just seen on the beach. This is the kind of stuff that goes through my head when I see someone looking at me in a slightly odd way. And yeah, that's probably quite messed up and twisted in a way, but that's just how my mind is conditioned, and I'd love to try and break that, especially because I do see out of shape guys on the beach, at the pool, wearing whatever they want to wear, walking down the street, and not really giving a crap about anyone's opinion. But for some reason I do. And I do strongly believe that it's all to do with how I was brought up and the impact of bullying and being made to feel different from a very early stage of my life really. So school age really, primary school is kind of what really strikes a chord with me as to when it all started. Whereas for the other guys, it might be that they were in like a different category. Let's say they were never really overweight, they were never really bullied, or they were never made to feel different, and so that kind of stayed with them, and then they may have put on weight later on in life, but because they've had more of their life not really having to worry about this sort of stuff, they don't worry about it now, or they approach things differently. Whereas I've spent the majority of my life worrying about the way I look and being bullied and made to feel different, and so trying to reverse that now is almost impossible. Which is why I'm kind of bringing this whole situation and topic to the surface now, because I feel if there are kids out there who are heading down that route where they're perhaps being bullied, or they're making comparisons between themselves and the perfect, image, especially with social media, the way the fashion industry depicts that perfect way of looking, society, you name it. There's so many different angles out there now which are making kids feel crap about themselves, and if you're kind of seeing that on a daily basis, and you're starting to worry more and more about how I look, how I'm maturing as an adult, acne. I went through tons and tons of acne growing up, on top of that being overweight, having fat in places that I didn't want it to, as well as being one of the only brown kids in the entire town that I lived in. Like, I had a lot of different reasons to feel insecure, which is kind of why it's so bad for me now. But maybe there are kids out there who are just feeling one of those different things. They might be a different skin color, they might be going through puberty and they've got a massive breakout of acne that's making them feel really self-conscious. They might be putting on weight, or they might always be have always been a bigger child, and they're starting to kind of feel, what, I feel really different, people are bullying me, or I've seen all this content online about this is the perfect way to look, and getting into shape and all of this stuff. That is a form of bullying ultimately, and that's kind of what will then move on to the next stage of essentially trying to change yourself, because you're being bullied into doing that. And that's what I want to try and address here, because that's what I went through. I've suffered enough, and you can watch other videos which tell you more about the story and what I've had to go through as a child. But my main kind of aim here is you've got to, I guess, try and support your kids, the younger generation, into feeling that it's okay to look how you look. We're all different. We're all built in a different way. Some are big, some are small, some are fat, some are thin, some are brown, some are white, black, yellow, whatever. Like, we're all different colors, and there's no right way of looking. Just because there's someone online saying you should have a six-pack, or you should look like this, you should use this cream or these products to get rid of your acne, or to grow your hair back, or whatever it is, because without that you're going to look different, or you're going to be bullied, or you're not going to have the career that you want, or you're not going to get the girls that you want. This is the kind of world that we live in. There's so much unconscious bullying out there, which makes kids feel like crap. And it's quite clever the way that they do it, because it's not sort of directly selling something, but they're making a business out of the younger generation. So yeah, I think there's a massive opportunity here to try and shape the way that kids are being targeted. I think also the way that kids are receiving this information and not taking it as seriously as we should, because as adults we need to try and not just minimize that exposure, but also make the kids understand it's completely fine to look the way that you look. There's no right way of looking. And if you want to help them, if you're worried about them, if they do have, I don't know, some extra fat and you're worried about their health, or that you're worried about, you know, something to do with them, their health, or whatever it is, there are professionals out there that they should be speaking to, as opposed to kind of basing everything off some Instagrammer or influencer online and feeling that they're going to be the solution to all of this. There are doctors specialised in, you know, professional angles when it comes to kids and their mental health and sort of adolescent matters that are more qualified to be helping your children with. But quite often kids just find something online that really resonates with them and they stick with it, and then they get kind of deeper and deeper and deeper into that, almost like a brainwashing in a way, and yeah, it could lead on to more serious things, like it did for me. Like one insecurity led on to another, and then ultimately I was just one big anxiety ball full of worry and low confidence. And do you really want that for your kids? I don't. I definitely don't. I want my kids to grow up with a view that they can look how they want. If they want to change something, if they want to lose weight, if they want to exercise, if they want to speak to a professional about their skin, if they want to speak to a professional about, you know, if they have hair loss or whatever in the future, or if there's a body condition that they're worried about, anything, speak to a professional. Don't feel insecure, because it's okay to look how you look. Sometimes there's a cure, sometimes there isn't, and if there isn't, that's okay, because you're built in the way that you're built. You can't do anything about that necessarily. If you're short, you can't just get taller just by, you know, watching people online trying to sell some sort of miracle drug. It's not going to help you. If anything, it might do more damage to you. You don't know what's in these pills, and that goes for anything. But whatever you do, if you're going to make a change, if you want to do something like I'm doing, like I'm an advocate for going to the gym, and I'm, you know, trying to be fitter. I do want to lose some weight, but mostly for me, because I want to be healthy. I'm hitting like 40 soon. I just want to be a fitter, healthier person. Ultimately, and I was telling my father-in-law this, he was talking about how kind of in shape he was back in the day, and how much he weighed. And then I was like, you know what, I don't care. I'm well over 100 kilos at the moment. I'm like 105, 106 kilos. But I'm healthy. I feel healthy because I'm running. I can do a 5k without worrying about it. I can lift weight more than I have done in, you know, years before. But I don't care if I'm over 100 kilos. And he was like quite shocked at that, actually. He was like, you've got to lose some weight. And I was like, well, why? I feel fitter and stronger than I have done in a long time. But that's again a different view of it, a different generational view. But I feel like like all this exercise and stuff I'm doing now, that's for me. That's a personal thing for me. I don't feel like I'm being, you know, bullied as such into doing that anymore. I do feel bullied by my thoughts when it comes to, oh, what are they thinking about me, or, you know, someone you know, looked at me in the wrong way. That means that they must be, you know, bullying me, or they're, you know, there's something about me which they don't like. But not compared to being at school, where I actually got physically and emotionally bullied by people. The name calling, the finger pointing, the isolation, the segregation, you know, being separated from, or being kept apart, let's say, from, you know, the cool kids, the ones with all the friends, because of the way I looked. I don't think you can get away with doing stuff like that so openly now as an adult, but it does happen as kids. So this is this kind of stuff which we need to really think about and address, because before you know it, your child could start going down quite a dark path, like it did for me. Anyway, I've ranted on enough. If this content resonates, give us a like, share it, comment, subscribe, because ultimately, yes, I want to make a change, but I can't do it alone, and the only way to really broadcast and get this message wider is by getting more followers and more people kind of getting in and on board with the idea of trying to break this stigma, because ultimately it's something that needs to happen sooner rather than later, especially for our younger generation who are already sort of in the thick of it. So until next time, thanks very much. Stay tuned for more.